happen in our dreams. We try to figure them out, and sometimes we just kind of like, oh well. But what happens here is the fact that there is a specific purpose behind this dream. And what happens, like always, he consulted Daniel to interpret this particular dream. Now, one of the things we need to know about Nebuchadnezzar, God chose Nebuchadnezzar to do some things. He was in Israel, he was king of Babylon, came over and took Israel over. There was a purpose behind that. Like everything God does, there's always a purpose. But here is what happens when you think you're too big. We get overabundant, or we get above and beyond ourselves. And that's kind of what was going on here with Nebuchadnezzar. Because all of a sudden, God had blessed him with so much, and all of a sudden he kind of forgot where he was at. So, we're going to start at Daniel, chapter 4, and verse 19. And I want you to get the gist of what this is, because we're going to pick this up as the interpretation happens. And now I want you to think about something as this is being interpreted, because I didn't go over what Nebuchadnezzar's dream was, but it was a dream about a tree. And much like sometimes, as the dream turns out, you don't understand it, because sometimes starts off okay, sometimes dream starts off okay, and then suddenly something happens where you don't understand what the heck happened. Because we always want to dream good dreams. We always say that as kids, even as adults, we want to dream good dreams. And sometimes some of those dreams we think are good aren't necessarily that good at all. Sometimes we see things in our dreams of things that are going to happen, and we are placed in a place, and it says it may not happen today or tomorrow, but at some point or another you'll remember it. Bring back to your remembrance, and you'll be sitting there like, okay, I know in the dream, I remember this. I dreamt about this over a year ago, so I know to keep my mouth shut. Because if I say something, this is going to happen if I open my mouth. So, we'll pick this up. Verse 19. And it says, then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was astonished for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, my lord, the dream to be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies. Now, he had already explained this dream to Daniel, and now Daniel is troubling him. And the king's trying to calm him down, says, no, just tell me. So here we are, verse 20. The tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof of all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and among those branches the fowls of the heaven, and their habitation. It is thou, O king, that art grown and become strong, for thy greatness is grown, and reaches unto heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth. And whereas the king saw a watcher and a holy one coming down from heaven, and saying, hew the tree down, and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the root thereof in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven. And let his portion be with the beast of the field till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which is can come upon my lord the king, that they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and they shall wet thee with the dew of heaven, and 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. And whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, thy kingdom shall be sure unto thee. After that thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thine iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, if it may be a lengthening of thy tranquility. So stop right there for a second. And I'm going to give this to you as a thought. Don't let your actions be greater than God's. Don't let your actions be greater than God. Or you could put it another way. Don't think you all that. And there's something everybody can relate to. Don't think you all that. And as we continue the next part of this, I want you to think about this now, because Nebuchadnezzar had it all. God had given him and blessed him with so much that something happened. Verse 28. All this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar, and at the end of 12 months he walked the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. So about a year from the interpretation of that dream. The king spake and said, Is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty? Keep that verse in mind. While the word was being in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee, and they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat the grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws. And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up mine eyes unto heaven, and mine understanding returned unto me. And I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing. And he doeth according to his will in the army of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth, and none can stay his hand, or say unto him, What doest thou? At the same time, my reason returned unto me, and for the glory of my kingdom, mine honor and brightness returned unto me. And my counselor and my Lord sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom, and excellent majesty was added unto me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all whose works are truth, and his ways judgment. And those that walk in pride, he's able to abase. Say amen. He humbled Nebuchadnezzar, because what happened, think of it this way. talk about us. Because a lot of us are like Nebuchadnezzar. God will bless us to the point, God, we talk to God, and then when God gets to blessing us with things, all of a sudden we tend to forget about God, because now we're looking at what we have. Look at all this stuff. We get out, we get a little something, and it all goes to our head, and we forget about who gave it to us. And in Nebuchadnezzar's case, that's what happened to him. God had expanded his kingdom, gave him everything, because initially he was a God-fearing man. And then as things began to progress, he started getting a little bit of this, getting a little bit of that. He had the dream. He had that dream about the tree. He wasn't understanding it. It disturbed him to the point where he had to bring Daniel in to interpret that dream, because he used Daniel before to interpret dreams. And it disturbed Daniel to the point it was disturbing him. It was like, well, wait a minute. And he says, no. He says, you know what? Forget about what you fear. Forget all about it. Just tell me what it is that interpret the dream. So Daniel explained to him, says, the interpretation of the dream and what you dream, it is you that the dream relates to. Daniel tells him everything that's going to happen to him. By interpreting his dream, he told Nebuchadnezzar everything was happening. The only thing Daniel didn't tell him and couldn't tell him was when it was going to happen. And you know, like we all do when somebody keeps telling us something, oh, well, you know, if you keep doing this is going to happen. And we're like, okay, when it don't happen in a little while, it ain't going to happen. Oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And it takes me back to this one verse here. Because verse 29 says something. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. So it was a year later after this dream was interpreted. All of a sudden he's walking, strolling through the palace. He gets beside himself. He's like, look at me, check me out. Look at this. Then verse 30, he says the next thing. Because he didn't forgot about this dream now. 30 says, the king spake and said, is not this great Babylon that I have built? I have built. For the house of the kingdom by the might of my power, I and my, and for the honor of my majesty. See, there was this mistake right there. I did this. It was for me. And because I did all this myself. I did this for me. I did this by my hand. It was about I did this. And in fact, it was God who made it possible, who made that happen. And you see right then, he forgot who made it all possible. He's talking about, oh, look what I did. I did this. And Nebuchadnezzar was much like what we do today. We get up there, it's like, God has blessed us with all these things, and then when people start asking us questions, or we get beside ourselves, like, look at me, I did this. I built this from the ground up. I did this. I made this money myself. I did this because I wanted to, because I did it for me. I have all this power because I made it for myself. Not realizing the fact, now all of a sudden, because see, you depended on God all this time to get to where you're at, and now that you get to where you think you want to be at, we get this thing like, okay, we start cutting loose things. I'm all that in a bag of chips. You can't tell me nothing. Because if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be sitting here. All right. Take it a little further. We get to the point where we were once buying, now I'm talking a little of material stuff here, a little bit. One time we were barely making ends meet, you were shopping at Kmart, Walmart, the Goodwill, trying to get some clothes together, piece some money to put some clothing on, and you doing it. And then as you became closer to God, God started blessing you. God blessed you with the job that you didn't have before. Got you out of areas that you didn't necessarily need to be in and you didn't want to be in. God bless you that. Blessed you with an apartment initially. He says, hey, well, now that I blessed you with the job, now you can afford a little bit. Let me take you, now that you'll follow me, let me get you out of this little situation. Let me move you upgrade you from out of the hood. Let me put you in an apartment in a nice area. Okay, now you don't have a car or anything like that. Says, you know you want this, but the only thing you need is 4 wheels and an engine, something to get you to and from work. It says we're going to build upon what we have already. And so we're going to give you a little transportation, but you're still struggling. But the thing about it is, God is still blessing you in the process. Now what happens is, now you got your little job, you got your little apartment, you got your little car. Now you don't have to keep going to Walmart, Kmart all the time. Now you want to move up to JCPenney and Sears to buy you a little nice little something. We want to go there and say, hey, I can do this because while I'm upgrading, I'm doing some upgrades here. So now I'm in the upgrade because the Lord is blessing me. I go to church and everything. I study my word. I go to Bible study. I do everything that God wants me to do. So, in the meantime, I'm getting little upgrades. So as I get the upgrades, I'm like, yes, the Lord is blessing me. And people see that the Lord is blessing me. I'm like, hey, praise God. And I give my testimony and stuff about where I started from and where I'm going and stuff. I'm still not there yet. So as you keep going along, the Lord keeps building upon your foundation that you have built. Because see, before, your foundation was just an empty lot. Picture an empty lot that was there, growing with weeds and everything. Now that when God has come into your life and everything, now we start pouring foundations, pouring the concrete, lay the rebar out and stuff. We start building up on it. So, when you got the JCPenney and Sears now, it says, oh yeah. I says, well, you know what? I see some at Macy's I want to get. I want to eventually start buying from like Macy's, I don't have to buy like every day. So what you do, you're still seeking the Lord. You're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. And the Lord decides, okay, I'm going to bless you a little more. Says, yeah, I understand everything. I said, I think you deserve it. Let me bless you a little bit more in your life. So what happens, it makes it possible and everything to the point where now you can buy a new car, and now you can shop at Macy's. Maybe you can upgrade your apartment. It says, okay, I got an apartment and everything. Now maybe I can move to a nice neighborhood. So you're able to do that. It says, okay, hey, look what the Lord has done. You come at church, testify about everything that God has done and continue to do for you. And then what happens? You get a promotion on your job. And you're like, ooh, praise the Lord. Now I shop at Macy's. Upgrade my clothing some more. Oh, I got an upgrade because now I got a new car. A brand used car. It's not new, but it's brand used. I can buy it from an actual legitimate big time dealership. I said my car used to be a rental and everything, but I'm good with that, because praise the Lord and everything, because now I got a car that's really dependable and everything. I can go here, there, I can do a little something. Well, maybe I want to take a little trip in here. The Lord makes it possible. You go take you a little trip. I'm gonna do this. And then what happens? Lord decides, says, you know what? I think you entitled to a blessing that you don't even see coming. Because I know your walk with me has been what it has. So I'm going to bless you with something you don't even know that it's coming. But now, when the Lord gets ready to do this, the Lord already knows what you're going to do. Way before he does it, before he gives it to you. Already know. things. So the Lord decides, hey, I'm going to make it possible. You're going to get this. It's either a job that pays a whole lot more than what you're making right now, plus a promotion. You're going to be in a position to buy your house, buy that car, that dream car you wanted. Put you in a position of power. Now, put you in a position of power, so that means that you got people, position of power doesn't mean like, oh, it could be that, but it doesn't necessarily. And you know, in work where it says, okay, you have people work for you. So the Lord decides to do something unexpected that you don't expect. So let's just say you get this offer, say, hey, I have an executive position for you. And in this executive position, you're going to have 10 people working for you. Okay, here's what it is, blah, blah, blah. You get a company car, you get paid X amount of dollars, whatever. As a matter of fact, before we do this for you, this is what you need to do. We're going to make it where we're going to send you to school. We're going to pay for you to go to school. Once you complete that, there's a promotion at the end of that. Because in order for us to give you this position, you know, we want to make sure our employee, we think you're the right person for the job, but this is what's going to happen. So there's a little parameter. So you decide, oh yeah, you're going to jump right on it. Because the Lord has opened the door for you. And you're like, first of all, I was like, I don't know. Then you'd be like, okay, yeah, you jump right at it. You get to the point, you've done all this, you went to the school that they wanted to send you, they paid for it, they invested in you. Now in the process, now you have started changing who you are because of that. And what do you mean you start that? Because see, now what's happened, now you're starting to look, not looking at what God has built up, where it's brought you from. Now it's become less important for you to be seeking God and more important about where you're going. God already knew you were going to do that. Hey, look, this is look. Then after a while, this is all you start talking about. Yeah, my job is this. I'm the vice president of what I make 6-figure a year. This is your conversation. You're not got a brand new car over there, you know, it's the top of the line. Yeah, I'm no longer at Macy's no more, I've moved up. Now, then Gucci, Versace, oh yeah, so this is Versace. You start talking about things like this. This is your conversation, and in the process, it changes who you are. And what do you mean? How does it change? Because see, now what happens is you don't want to listen to what nobody's telling you. Somebody says, that's okay, but when you come to church, folks says, stay with the Lord. Now you get to the point like, now it's like I don't want to hear you telling me that because, now all of a sudden, God didn't make this happen, I did. I made it happen. I'm like, no. I said, no, God made it happen. But you're missing the point because God was with you the whole time. When you had nothing, to begin with. God made it possible for you to have something and put it in a position where you could have a lot more and abundantly. But what happens is, there was a change that went on. Hey, when that door opened and stuff, God was left right at the door. When you walked through, God was like, it was almost like it was a very thin door. You and God walking. Yeah, we're having a conversation. The door's about this thin. So you're like, whoosh. He hits the door, you keep stepping. And now you've got beside yourself, no one can tell you nothing. But you're not all that. Because why? Because it's a proven point here. God did it to Nebuchadnezzar. He had to break him down to where he was nothing to understand that God will put who he wants to anywhere at any time. That's what Nebuchadnezzar had to learn the hard way. even though he had a dream a whole year in advance, and Daniel gave us instructions. This is what you need to do to avoid this. Was he listening? No. He heard it, but didn't hear it. Because look, 12 months later, because he forgot about the dream. Look at this, look what I've done, look what I've done. And God spoke to him. The moment he said that, God spoke to him. Okay, fine. This is what's about to happen. He didn't say, remember that dream? Nebuchadnezzar became like an animal, like an ox. Suddenly, he took him from his kingdom, everything, put him out in the field for 7 years. His hair grew. His nails grew. He's out there munching on grass for 7 years. 7. Now think about that now. God has built you up all this, but God was proving a point to Nebuchadnezzar. It says, there's always that, there's that saying. And it's not just saying, scripture too. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Nebuchadnezzar seen that firsthand. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. The Lord gave him all that, but see what happened was, Nebuchadnezzar didn't think, had forgotten what God had done. He got beside himself and said, look what I did. Look at me, look at me. Look at me, I'm on top of the world. Nobody can knock me off. And the Lord says, like, look, check this out. Just like that, out of a statement out of his mouth, next thing you know, he was out there munching on grass. And then, when after 7 years passed, when everything came back to him, now it's amazing now, for 7 years, life went on with everybody. The kingdom didn't fall apart. Nothing did. Everything went on as normal. Didn't say that everybody went haywire, everybody ran away. I'm pretty sure those folks asked, where's the king? Out there. So just look out the window, look over there in the field over there. I said, do you see that? You see that person with the long hair? That's him. Now see, if you fall like that, this is what's going to happen. When you fall hard like this, not everybody who was on your bandwagon is not going to be there. Because what happens is, see, as long as you're on your way up, and when you get to somewhere where you think you're somebody, everybody want to get on your bandwagon. Ooh, look at this, because it's not the ideal. They're not interested in you. They're looking at what you got. It's not you they care about. God put you up there, but see, when we start forgetting, see, everybody on your bandwagon, they forget. We see this all the time. You can look at it in the news, you look at these sports figures, it happens all the time. Everybody's on my bandwagon, but the moment they screw up, nobody there. They're like, what you talking about? Well, I tried to tell so-and-so not to do this. Everybody's not on your bandwagon. So we need to quit thinking that you all that in a bag of chips, because you're not. Because whatever God gives us, God will take away. He can take it away. If we get too much beside ourselves, He will definitely take it away, and we will fall. And there won't be no soft landing, it will fall hard. Nebuchadnezzar fell hard. He was on the very top of the world, and just like that, he was gone. 7 years, he was out. He was not a king for 7 years. But he was in a position where everybody could see him. Oh, there's the king. Oh, look. The man that lost his mind. He lose his mind? No, God made him do that. He lost his mind. His mind was gone because he couldn't think in his right mind because God had taken his normal thought away from him. But when he came back, Nebuchadnezzar understood the facts that who God was. And he identified the fact that says, hey, let me tell y'all something. He says, you know, I understand now what the dream was about. I understand when God tells you something that we need to be obedient about it. When everything that we do, everything I do, I need to acknowledge that God did it. God can take anybody at his choosing and put him in high places and also remove him from those places. And see, when we start talking about blessings from God, we get it in our minds like, oh yeah, the Lord is blessing me, like the Lord's blessing. And when God stops blessing us, we want to get mad at God. But now we got to look at what is it that we are doing? What am I doing? How come God is not blessing me? Did I get too far in front of him? Did I get out in front of him and do something I wasn't supposed to? Say, no, Nebuchadnezzar problem. He was talking about, look what I did. I did this. And the Lord said, oh, you did. Since you did all this, this is what's going to happen. That is why, see, when you step in God's house, we hear many pastors, preachers, teachers tell folks, it says, and there's that song, you know, take the Lord with you wherever you go. There's a reason why that song exists. Take the Lord with you wherever you go. That means no matter where you go. That doesn't mean when you just walk out the door. It says no. If you're starting to get elevated in life, take the Lord with you, because the Lord was the one that got you from nowhere and put you up to where you're at. And the moment we start forgetting, problems start happening. That's why so many folks are unhappy. I make all this money and everything, you know, but you know, something's missing. Yes, something's missing, because God got you to where you're at, and now you want to say you forgot all about God. I don't believe God. I said, no, God made it possible for you to get to where you're at. You and I all that. 34 says, and at the end of days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up my eyes unto heaven, and my understanding returned unto me, and I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him, that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. See, it took Nebuchadnezzar 7 years to figure that out. One thing he said, he made one statement, and it cost him 7 years of his life. 7 years is what it cost him. 7 years of not being in his right mind. 7 years out there looking, you know, acting, being like an animal, eating the grass. 7 years is what it cost him. So when you start thinking, when we get to the point where we start thinking, we want to leave God out of the picture, think of Nebuchadnezzar. He thought he was all that in a bag of chips, and God proved to him, and proved to us, listen, I am the Lord thy God. I was the one that brought you to where you're at. And as much as I brought you to where you're at, I can take away what I brought you to. I can take it all away. So that means, in layman's terms, if you were a millionaire today and all of a sudden you want to leave God out of the picture, God can take your millions. Oh, he can't do that. He's not going to physically come down that. Oh, but there's a thing called the IRS. Because along the way, you have forgot to file some taxes. Oh, by the way, you hadn't paid none. Oh, by the way, some deal that you made was illegal. Oh, I didn't know. That's how those things happen. I wasn't trying to do anything illegal. Doesn't matter. The fact remains, when you start leaving God out the picture, things start happening. And you start wondering why. He says, no, just think of this. Think of Nebuchadnezzar when things happen to you. You won't have to be in Nebuchadnezzar's situation. Don't do what he did. Don't think of yourself like, I did, look what I did. Ooh-wee, look, I got all this. When you start talking about all this, all that, when you start doing all this, all that can disappear. Just like I'm waving my hand in the air, that's exactly what it'll be, air. Woo-wee, it's gone. You are not all that. And I'll close with this one. This last verse. 37. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all whose works are truth and his ways judgment. And those that walk in pride, he is able to abase. Humble. Able to humble them. He's telling you because he experienced it. humbles you over something like this, oh, believe me, you will know. And he's like, I ain't got nothing to do with it. Says, I don't want that happening ever again. And we have experiences in life like this. Something that happened, I don't want to deal with that no more. I don't want to ever have to come across that again. Amen. Now may the Lord, and blessing to you. Lord, bless your hearts. Bless your hearts. Bless your soul. Bless your mind. I hope you receive something from God through this message. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you.